Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Liz with I Heart for Books, and today I have my January TBR. Also, I am partaking in a readathon called Pageathon, which is for the month of January. So for that, let's get into it. Okay, so for the Pageathon, they basically it's based on your birthday or whatever month your birthday falls in. You're part of that group. So it's the 4 seasons: spring, summer, winter, fall, and my birthday falls in March, so I am part of the winter, which I'm always part of the winter. That they have 4 prompts for it. So there was the blue or white cover, or blue and white cover, and for that I'm reading Gemini, and that's by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, and that is the second book in the Illuminae series, which takes place in space, which is amazing. So then the next challenge is a winter title, and for that I chose Winterwood, and that is by Shay Earnshaw. Sure what Winterwood is about, but I got it in the last Owl Crate. No, I got it in the November Owl Crate, and so give me an excuse to read the book. Then the next prompt is a book set in winter, and for that I have The Bear and the Nightingale, and that's by Catherine Arden. So this is her adult book, which I've never read any of her adult ones, so we'll see how it is. And then the last one is a winter related word, and for that I chose Let It Snow, and has 3 authors, John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Markle. I don't think that's how you say it, but I've never read anything from John Green, and I love Maureen Johnson, so, and I've only ever heard really good things about Let It Snow, and it's a Netflix movie, so can't be all that bad, right? So those are the books for that. And then now to get into my personal January TBR, and for that, see you later. Peace. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Liz with I Heart for Books, and today I am doing my January TBR. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first book I have is Aurora Rising, and this is by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So in Aurora Rising, we follow Tyler Jones. He just graduated from Space Academy. He thought that he would be able to have the best team to be a part of his space crew, but instead gets a band of losers. His crew has a bunch of issues, and somehow he rescues this girl named Aurora, who was frozen for 2 centuries. And then somehow a war starts, and this team has to save the galaxy. And so that's what this book is about, and I only heard good things about it, and so I can't wait to actually read it. The next book is Gemini. I don't actually own a physical copy of that book, so that one would be in ebook. I do have the ebook of it. So Gemini is the second installment in the Illuminae files. In this one, we followed some new characters, Hannah and Nick, as they battle some hitmen that came Trojan horse onto the jump ship station at Hammondale. In the process of this, they have to kill alien predators that got loose because of the attack. To make matters even worse, the station's wormhole is malfunctioning, which creates a space-time continuum problem. So we are following Hannah and Nick as they figure things out. And then the next book I have is The Final Six. The Final Six is by Alexandria Moner. And this book is about two teens, Leo and Naomi, who are drafted into an international space training camp where they are to compete to become one of the 6 contestants that are tasked with finding a new planet for mankind to live on. And Leo is super excited about this. However, Naomi is not as excited because she distrusts the academy or the space training camp. So that one. And then the next book I have is called The Disasters, and this is by M.K. England. So in The Disasters, we follow Nax Hall. He is I guess a rebel, you would say, and so he's always made poor choices all his life, which had led to him getting kicked out of an elite space academy. But as Nax is leaving to go back to Earth because he got kicked out of the academy, there was basically an attack on the academy. So there were supposed to be no witnesses, no survivors. No one was supposed to see this attack happen. However, 6 individuals, sorry, not 6 individuals, Nax and 3 other ex-recruits had seen this happen, and so they escape on a stolen spaceship. And so now they're being framed for the crime. So now they're on a run, and they have to prove that they weren't responsible for the attack, and they have to prove who was actually responsible for the attack. Then the next book I'm reading is Nexium Unleashed, and this is by Scott Rakin. And this is also a second installment in the Nexia series. So if you haven't read the first book, I suggest you read the first book because it is a good read, at least in my opinion it is. So in that one we follow Emmett, who has to compete to get on to be able to advance to the next part of the mission, and this is with Babel Corporation. They have to compete against each other because I think only like 8 of them or something can actually go to the planet of what's the planet's name? Eden. That's what it's called. So they're competing to go to Eden, and if you are part of the ones that get to go to this new planet, then your whole family will be basically taken care of back on Earth. And so Emmett is one of the people that fought his way to be able to go to Eden. So while in the Nexia Unleashed, we're following Emmett and the other 7 survivors from the competition, and their job is to extract Nexia. And Nexia is a valuable material. It's a material that can basically be anything. You can make it whatever you want. The only thing that will hold you back is basically your imagination, because Nexium can turn into anything you want it to be. It's that's why it's a valuable material that Babel corporation wants, and only teenage or children can actually go onto this planet of Eden and not get hurt by the Adamites, who are basically the natives of that planet. They won't hurt children, but if adults come to the planet, they basically see them as threats and will try to hurt them. And then the last book I have is Skyward. And this book is by Brandon Sanderson. So in this book, we have Spencer, and she's always wanted to be a pilot, but she's not able to go to flying school because of her father. Her father was a pilot before he died, but for some reason he deserted his team and was from then on labeled a coward. And now Spencer is basically paying for the sins of her father because he was disgraced. It basically paints a shadow over her, and no one will let her forget that her father was disgraced, and so that therefore she can't join the flying school. So I guess one day Spencer finds a ship, and she fixes it up and uses it to make her dreams come true. I'm assuming there's some kind of something that she has to save, and there's also a continuation in the series. So that is the first half of my TBR. And for my January, so for me, I do themes for my TBRs. So my January theme is, if you haven't guessed, it's about space. I named it Touching the Skies. So that is what my January theme is about, touching the sky. And obviously I have 6 books that have to deal with space, basically. And that is all for my January TBR list. And again, thank you for watching. Peace. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Liz with iHeart4Books, and today I am talking about 3 books that I read for this first week of January. The first one being Foul is Fair, and I got that as a NetGalley arc, and I am doing a review on it. It was given to me for my honest opinion. And Foul is Fair by Hannah Copen is a Shakespeare Macbeth retelling, and we follow our main character Jade, who on her 14th birthday, along with 3 of her best friends, went to a party that was being thrown by these preparatory boys. And while there, she had was giving a drink that she did not know was laced, and a situation encountered, and then the next day she felt very violated, and she remembered everyone that was involved at the time of the party, and she was pissed, to say the least, because she was basically sexually assaulted. I can't talk. So she wanted revenge. So with her friends, they have this coven. That is what they call themselves. And so she wanted revenge, and of course, like good friends that they are, they were down for the plan. So Jade then transfers to St. Andrew's Prep so she can keep a better eye on the boys that took advantage of her situation, although they're the ones responsible for the situation, so I don't really feel bad for them, but you know, whatever. So it's a very powerful story. So she one by one plans basically the demise of these boys, because at the school they are the golden boys, and everyone knows what happens at these parties because they post it online. So people are aware of what happens, but nothing happens to these boys. There are no repercussions done, nothing. So they basically continue to get away with everything. So Jay basically is determined to take them down, and so she enlists the help of an up-and-coming golden boy who knows what's going on but not involved, and that's how he can live with the things that his teammates are actually doing, because he just tells himself that he's not the one doing it, but he sees it, he doesn't like it, he doesn't agree with what they're doing. But yeah, so she enlists his help, because not doing anything actually means you are doing something. You are choosing not to do anything. You're choosing not to help these girls. You're choosing to continue to be a part of it. You're choosing not to speak up. So you still play a role. So Jay decided to use him to basically get back at the friends that are on the team. So this book was amazing. I was confused a little bit at first because of the way it's written. It's all monologue-y and it's told from her perspective, although is dialogue within the book, and it's interesting. And I gave this actually a 3.5 star rating, because although it was really well written and really well done, it was, I don't know, it was just something about it, like the whole thing just kind of, I didn't like, to be honest with you, I didn't like Macbeth. So the fact that this is a very good retelling of Macbeth just says a lot. So but if you are a fan of Shakespeare and you love Macbeth, or you really want to read this book, I would say you should read this book. Hannah did a really good job writing it, and I commend her for that. This just was not the book for me. It's not a situation that I could relate to. It does have a lot of trigger warnings, so you would want to be mindful of that. And she has on her website, she has a list of all the triggers, warnings that this book would hit on. So I would definitely take a look at that. I recommend you doing that before you actually go into reading this book. However, this took the Me Too movement to a whole nother level, basically, because Jade was not playing around with these boys. Basically, she's like, you did the crime, you are going to do the time, well then I'm going to go ahead and make sure you pay for it. So the next story I'm talking about is The Nameless Queen, and that is by Rebecca McLaughlin. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I did not, I do apologize. Okay, so The Nameless Queen is basically in a dystopian world where if you are born into high society, you are given a name at birth. But if you're born into a poor society, you were not given a name. You were nameless, basically. You grew up without a name, which names are important, and because it defines who you are. It gives you it tells you who you are. It's your life, that's who you are. That's your, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to make sense of it, but I don't know if it is making any sense. But your name defines you. I mean, you can't be defined by it, but you are that's terrible too. Okay, so basically being given a name is important. At least to me it is, because it is telling people, I am Liz, that is who I am, that is my name. you know. So, but anyway, so in The Nameless Queen, we are following our main character, who is nameless. She grew up nameless anyway, and on the streets she goes by the name of Coin. So on the streets you aren't given a name, but you can name yourself. Like, the street people amongst you can name yourself, but you are not recognized as being a part of the Sheridan Society, which is the name of the colony or whatever, the world, the city or whatever that is called. It's called Sheridan. So you can give yourself a name, but you are not recognized as a citizen of Sheridan. So anyway, so one day Coin wakes up and she has this burning sensation on her arm, and then it turns out that it's a crown. Now the crown can only be passed to a person with a name, and it has to be passed down from the royalty, or the king rather, or queen, whoever is in power. If it's king or queen, they have to speak your name to be able to pass on the crown to you. Now, the nameless are normally the thieves, so they have this leader basically of the thieves, and his name is Marcher, and he basically taught Coin how to become a drifter. And so basically what that means is that she's able to bump into a royalty or a noble person and basically pick their pockets, basically steal things. So she's a thief, and she left Marcher to go at it alone because there was a situation that wasn't really explained. It was just told why, but this was later in the book, the why she had left. I may be making that part up, I can't remember, but I think that's what it was. But anyway, so Coin also has a friend who is under Marcher, who's still under Marcher's control, or still part of Marcher's group, and her name is Hat. And Hat looks up to Coin like a big sis, and Coin is always looking out for her, and Hat wants to live with Coin, but Coin is like, I don't want the responsibility. You stay with Marcher, he can look after you and take care of you. So then they bumped into someone and they wanted her arrested. So Coin stepped in and told them that I am the queen, do not take my friend. And tells them to unhand her because she is the queen. So of course they see, she shows them the tattoo on her arm because she actually wanted to escape, because having a tattoo basically puts a bullseye on her back. People might want to assassinate her because you can actually steal the crown. So she, of course, goes to the palace, and they have to prove that she is actually the next queen, and of course she does. However, the committee does not want a nameless to be the queen, so they have the idea to basically have her transfer her powers of being queen to someone of their choosing. Overall, I gave this book 4 stars. And now the last book I'm going to talk about is Reverie, and that is by Ryan LaSala. Reverie was just honestly not the book for me. I gave this a 2-star rating. It was just a lot. It was a lot going on, and I just, like, it was a good story, but it was just too much going on in the story at one time. Okay, so Reverie is basically like a dream on crack, basically. So it's a dream that can actually become a reality. So that's what a reverie is. But the people that are having the reveries, they don't realize that they're in a dream world. So everyone, if you get sucked into the reverie, you may not know that you're actually in someone else's dream. However, there are this group called the others who are lucid, and they do know that they have entered into someone else's dream world, because their job is to undo the dream and free the people that are within the dream or within the reverie. So he gives you 3 different reveries that take place in this story, and a lot. So our main character Kane, he had just our main character Kane, he wakes up in a hospital, and that's how we start our story. Is he had gotten into an accident, a car accident apparently, but he can't remember being in a car accident, and so he lost all of his memories. And then he comes across this girl who he didn't know he was friends with, apparently. Her name is Ursula, and she's laughing. She's like, hey, what's going on, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, but the way he remembers Ursula is that they weren't friends, and he actually made fun of her when they were younger, or in, I think, 3rd grade. So younger, because he's in high school now. So he made fun of her, and he always thought that he didn't realize that they had become friends. So then she tells him, like, we are friends. We've been friends since 3rd grade, since the time that you made fun of me and your dad made you come apologize to me. And he's like, oh, like, that's not how he remembers it. So that makes no sense, but okay, we're gonna go with that. So then he sees that he has, so then after that, the very next day, he happens upon this photo of 4 people, the others, obviously, and he's trying to figure out who these people are, but it's not a picture of their face, it's a picture of their shoes. Yeah, so he's figuring out who these group of friends are based on their footwear. Okay, that's different. So he finds them, and he follows. Okay, so he figures out what one of the people in the picture, he figures out who the shoes belong to, and his name is Elliot. So he follows Elliot, who was in his gym class, and so they had to do square dancing, and so he's like, oh, I already know how this is going to turn out, because he's like the super gay guy, I guess, in the school, and he gets teased apparently for being gay. I don't really know. So then he's like, oh, in his mind, he's internalizing, like, oh, if Elliot, his friends are making fun of him for having to dance with a guy, so he's going to take it out on me. And Elliot's like, so we're going to do this square dance or what? And Kane is looking like, what? You actually want to do you want to square dance with me? And Elliot's like, yeah, we have to. He's like, but I'm a boy. And Elliot's like, yeah, so am I. Who cares? So they start, Elliot's friends, who are the idiots who are making fun of him because he's dancing with another guy. It's just, stupid, but whatever. That's just me. That's my opinion on it. But, so then Elliot disappears. Somehow, like, he sneaks up behind him. He sees him looking at the picture, and let me back up. So Kane gets tired of the guys, you know, making fun of Elliot, and Elliot's just like, I'm not like them, they're stupid, he's like, but they're your friends. So, and then he walks off, Kane walks off and goes into the locker room, and he's looking at the picture, and he realizes that Elliot is one of the people that's in the picture. So he's one that Kane had followed him and Adeline, who is another part of the others, and Ursula. So they're discussing the situation. He's like, oh, a revelry is about to happen, and you know, we need to keep Kane safe because he is no use to us because he doesn't remember anything. So apparently Kane was the leader of the others, so he was the one who knew when revelries were coming, and he would, you know, gather the troops basically. So to save his life, they wanted to hatch a plan, but then of course Kane acting like a whole big ass brat. He was so bratty, and it's like I could not stand him. I was just like, are you serious? Like are you serious? Honestly, it's like Ryan wrote him in. You know, Kane is, I guess, supposed to be Ryan because Ryan lives in a magical fantasy world, and so apparently does Kane, because Kane was just a pain in the ass. Like, he was like really bratty, and I like that really turned me off a lot in the story because he was so bratty. Like, what is, like, they're trying to protect you, they're trying to be your friends and trying to protect you and help you out and help you remember, but you're like, no, I don't want your help. Okay, like either you want the memories or you don't want the memories. Like, which one is it? Like, what do you want? So then he enters into a reverie because they were trying to avoid that situation. He enters into it anyway because he's so damn hard-headed. And so then it's just a lot. So then so then what happens? The reverie. So basically, for a reverie to end, so the reverie is the dream. So the dream, every dream has a plot, and then their job is to rush to the plot and then undo it. Not clear how the reverie is done until you get like, it's explained a little bit. It's like explained piecemeal as the story goes on. So you have to literally go through this whole book of confusion to understand, and then you may not even actually fully understand what the hell a reverie is and how the hell they undo it, and then what's the point of undoing this reverie, and how do you know when a reverie is forming? Like, do you get an inkling? Like, do your left ear start to twitch? There's no, like, how do you know when a reverie is starting to form? And then how can the people that are creating the reveries, are they just falling asleep just anywhere? Because I'm assuming that they have to be in a dream state of some sort for the reverie to actually take form. It's just a lot of ideas, but it's not really focused. So it's like all these little plots in this big plot and then you throw in Posey, who is a drag queen. But I mean, from the way Ryan describes Posey is, honey, on point with it. He is dressed to the tens and looking fly, because I could just imagine what Posey looked like. Because honestly, I was thinking of RuPaul every time I thought of Posey, because I listened to the audio and I read the book. And because I listened to audio, I didn't understand what the heck was going on, so I had to read the physical book and listen to the audio. And the way they were describing Posey, I was just thinking of RuPaul the whole time, because I'm like, Posey is on it. I think I like Posey, and Posey was the bad guy in the story, but I like Posey. I'm not even gonna lie, like, I really like Posey. Like, I don't know if it was because I'm just like a fan, she just sounds he sounds fantastical, but yeah, like I couldn't stand the other characters, but I love the hell out of Posey. Posey was my guy, for real, for real. And then, so Posey was our bad guy, and because of, it was a lot. It was just very confusing. You had a lot of moving pieces that didn't really ever come together nicely. And then Kane realized at the end that he actually played more of an important role than he knew. And also then we have the love interest for Kane, which I thought was going to be Elliot, still he made that, threw me for a damn loop. And okay, so it's like all these factors in, and then the sister Sophia, she was just as bratty as he was, but less bratty, because she just wanted to know. She was just nosy as hell. She just wanted to know what was going on, and he refused to tell her. He could have been filled her in. And then so one day she follows them and they want to erase her memory, but he's like, you stay away from my sister, I'm going to kill you. But you're not even filling your sister in on what the heck is going on. And the whole point is, you know, to erase the memories so people don't have reveries of their own. And then what happens? She has a damn reverie. Like, it was just a lot. It was like basically you just went against your own rules because it was his sister. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but whatever. And so yeah, so they each had these powers, and it helps them while they're in the reveries. So everyone is paired off by the end of the story, and it's just like, yeah, it was just a lot. It is very confusing. It's not like, a lot of things aren't really explained, because then on top of that, in the beginning of the story, he was being charged for property damage because he apparently drove his car into a historical building, and they wanted to charge him. And that's when Posey came into his life. He didn't know Posey was a bad guy at that point. But by the end of the story, we hear nothing more on the trial, or if he got convicted, or if they let the whole thing go, or nothing. We heard nothing about it. They don't tell us. And then on top of that, he threw some damn Voldemort shit in there. He threw some damn Harry Potter shit in there, where it was just like, what? At the end, he definitely did. It was I can't tell because it would give away the ending, but it's just like, really? On top of that, like, really? And so it was a lot, but it was a good try. Like, I feel like it had the potential, but Ryan missed the mark completely. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Reverie. Read it at your own risk. And if you can explain it to me, please try to explain it to me, because my mind was, and not in a good way. All right, well, thank you for watching. You have a good day.